second book. I'm actually starting to take some notes, which is how this book got started, with my journaling. So I'm thinking about starting the second book, and I don't think it's going to be as painful and as difficult because it won't be my story like it was this one. So I'm thinking about doing some things. Well, it's what I do even through my foundation, keeping tabs on your heart. One of my biggest campaigns is because of the way I lost my husband of sudden heart disease or massive heart attack. I empower people with knowing their family health history and becoming proactive with their physical health, because that's what started this whole piece for me, is losing my husband due to a massive heart attack because of what he didn't know about his family health history. So part of my campaign through my foundation, keeping tabs on your heart, is Shake Your Family Tree. So that's a strong sense of empowerment for me with people.
Well, it's amazing because I had the title 2 years before I started writing. I would be asked to go out to speak after my husband passed away, just to come out and share my story about his death and what I've learned. And in all of my talks, I would always end up saying, but the pain didn't kill me. And I was being interviewed one day about an upcoming event that I was going to be speaking at, and the host of the show said to me after I said the pain didn't kill me, he said, that sounds like the title of a book. And I said, that's it. That's the title of my book. I hadn't even started writing. I just knew that I was supposed to do something. I didn't know what it was going to be. So that's how the title of the book came, because I always said it whenever I would go out to speak.
Okay, good. That's good. And you said
How important it is to value life and our relationships with those that are in our lives, because the morning that my husband died, our day started like it did every day, just like your day starts today. We all have our schedule and our routine. I get up at 3:30 in the morning, jumped in the shower. He gets up after I'm dressing, goes downstairs to prepare my breakfast. We did this every morning. He put my bag in the car, stuck his head in the door, said, see you later, headed out for his morning run. 12 minutes later, he was dead. I don't even remember seeing him that day, because you're running around and you're trying to get out of the house and you take things for granted. We were in marriage counseling at the time. We had just been in a session a few days before his death. So I talk to people about the frailty of life, because the next second is not promised. My husband was literally snatched out of my life, so unexpected. I mean, we never saw it coming. So the frailty of life and the value of relationships, and making sure that we show our loved ones that they matter and that we care.
the guilt, the disappointment, those types of things. How did you get past it?
I got past it, and this was a process for me. It took me 3 years. Todd's been gone 6 years now. It was 6 years in May. It took me more than 3 years to really come to myself. Even during this writing process, I was still angry. But it wasn't because I was in so much pain. It wasn't because I was hurting. It wasn't because I was asking why now. I never asked why Todd, but I did ask God why now, because we were in a good place. I came out of this dark place that I thought I would live in forever when I made the decision to. It was a choice. And it's just like anything in all of our lives. It's a choice. I could have stayed in that place. I was in a very comfortable place in my pain, because I write in the book that my pain, in so many ways, it actually comforted me. It hurt not to hurt, because I had become familiar with hurt. When I made that choice, that's when I became empowered. When I was feeling sorry for myself, I was just feeling sorry for myself. So it was a choice.
You spoke a lot about friends. You spoke about the roles that pastors played, Todd's friends and that type of thing. Can you share with us a little bit on how they helped you move to your next?
You know what I appreciate the most about my friends? They knew me well enough to know when to come in close and when to pull back. And then they knew when to be insistent upon stepping into my space. One of my girlfriends, I was really in a bad place, and she called me one day and she said, Nicole and I want to take you out to lunch. I said, oh, not today. I don't feel like I didn't want to get out of the bed. She said, you got 5 minutes. Get your cry on, start getting dressed, we're coming to get you. And do you know that was the best thing, because they forced themselves on me, but they knew when to do it, and they knew when not to do it. And that's what I appreciate about my friends. They knew when to just give me my space, and they knew when to say, no. We're gonna gird you up, and we're gonna hold you up.
And through this, one avenue was through this book. I was ready to be mad at God, but it was chapter 18. You were saying that God didn't want you to be mad at him, and he didn't take Todd away for any evil reasoning.
Right.
And I went back to that when she passed away because I was ready just flat out angry, like, why would you do something like this? Because she got through the surgery, and then all of a sudden she had the stroke and it took her out. So I'm like, why did you bring her through all this and this happened? So I just want to thank you for your transparency. God had his hand on you during writing this book, because if I didn't have this book, I would have been just flat out angry and still in bed. There are days when I have my, I want to be in bed.
It's part of grief. You're supposed to be.
Mhm.
It's a part of grief.
But I always go back to your words, and I just want to thank you for it.
Thank you so much. And I want you to know that was not an easy thing for me to do. Chapters 1 through 15 was not what I chose to write. Chapter 16 to the end of the book, that's what I chose to write. Chapter 16 was originally my chapter 1. The memoir came about as I began to write. And I'm thinking, I ain't going this deep into my life. But I kept hearing in my heart, this is not about you. So then more stuff started coming out of me. And this is the most cathartic thing I ever did. I had no idea writing my story would heal me. And it still blows my mind that my tragedy and my pain is what pulled me out of my dark place.
I bet. I really felt like I understood your story and understood you better because you explained that. And I know that must have been hard.
It was hard.
But I really felt like, you feel a certain commonality between people. It's like, yeah, I'm not the only one from a big family with. So that was kind of my question as far as, like, you talk a lot about your siblings and things you've gone through with your siblings. The ones that are still with us, how do you move on from, all that from the past and everything you've been through? And you were so honest about where you're at with your sister. And like, how do you move forward with that relationship?
Stuff is not that deep. Just get over it. And in some cases, we need to get over ourselves.
Right.
And just move on. And I've really learned the power of forgiveness. I really, really have. And it's like my youngest sister and I, we had no relationship for years. And on her deathbed was the first day I told her I loved her. How stupid, how crazy was that? So much wasted time that I can't even remember her in my life when I think of her now, because we didn't have a relationship.
Right.
And so now I work that much harder to maintain a relationship with my remaining siblings, because they can be taken from us at any minute. With my youngest sister, we were 3 years apart. We should have been the best of friends. But we were, and then at the end I'm looking at her thinking, we were more alike than I even gave us credit for. But because of pride and, struggling in relationship, I just let it go, and she would let it go, and we wouldn't come together. It's just the power of forgiveness. Really just stepping out of ourselves and saying it is not that deep. It's not that deep.
One of the first takeaways that I got from your book was when you were dealing with your sister, your first sister, when she was ill. And what I got from that was how we give ourselves to so many of the people that we love, and how we need to remember that we have to take care of ourselves too. And that was like the very first takeaway I got from your book. I took so many takeaways from your book. And like all of us, I truly appreciate you sharing your story with us.
I'm writing something different. And I write something else. So.
For example, like...
I'm still putting together my notes. For me, I journal. I've always had, like, when a kid, I had a diary. I was the one that talked too much, but then when I would go in my room and write everything I was thinking. So I think that's how my book is so conversational, because I write just like I talk a lot. But I'm just starting. She's like, what? I don't know yet. I'm still kind of feeling my way through it. So right now I'm just taking notes. That's how this started, just with me taking notes and journaling and to get through my pain. And so we'll see.
And could you give us a